There we go. How do I stop? Perfect, right there. Hello, everyone, and welcome to episode 200 of At Odds with Wrestling. Joe Sposto and Adam Man Van here. Hello.
Hey, what are the odds that, we had the 200th episode happen to land on this monumentous event? How does that happen?
Right, we definitely didn't fudge the numbers.
No, not at all. No.
Last minute decision to call the last episode 199.5 or something like that.
It's completely legitimate.
Legitimate.
It was the 200th pre-show. Yes, 200th pre-show.
And hey, it's tough following Pod Van Dam, huh?
Yeah, if you are at home listening to this podcast and you haven't listened to Pod Van Dam yet, that's good. Listen to us first, then do Pod Van Dam after that, because we can't follow that show.
No.
This is we're going to talk normal stuff. And
yeah. We're going to just do our normal show as we normally do every week for the last 200 episodes. A lot of people lost a lot of money that Adam made it this far into the podcast. It's funny because we actually, it was about 3-4 years ago or so where we were at Knoebels and we were kind of put together by our friend Todd. And he's like, you like wrestling.
Yeah.
You like wrestling. I'm sick and tired of hearing the two of you guys talk to me about wrestling, talk to each other about wrestling, and 200 episodes later, here we are.
Yeah, the funny thing is, if anybody here is a fan of Joe Sposto, do we have Joe Sposto fans here? Yeah. If you ever said, oh man, I really wish I could do a podcast with Joe Sposto or just be in my seat, I did nothing to get here. I was just in the right place at the right time. I was literally I happened to be the first person near him that liked wrestling.
And through this, I got Adam a gig to call a micro wrestling show at the Woodlands, which is like a country club sort of thing back home.
Yeah.
Which was, what would we say, a little person wrestling promotion?
Yeah,
that's
it was
based out of an old Dollar General in Pigeon Forge, Tennessee. They came last minute. Jerry of Jerry's Internet Wrestling Emporium, aka Smart Mark Video, IWTV, filming the show here today, and contacts me the day before. There you go. And he's like, hey, could you call the show? Who do you want to call the show with? I'm like, Adam's doing it. That's it. No experience, no whatsoever. And that show's still up on IWTV, so definitely check that out.
Yeah, Joe told me, he's like, don't worry, we're not going to take it serious. Nobody's going to hear this thing. Just fuck around all you want. And then we get there, and he's like, all right, first things first, we have to take it very seriously. Second, it's going to be streaming live on IWTV. So it was like, oh, no pressure. But I peaked in that first time, because every time I've done commentary, I've been worse.
No, so the other time that you had commentary was one of the LVAC Real Rumble shows,
yes,
where it was me, you, and Orange Cassidy.
That is true, and I spoke about as much as Orange Cassidy did.
Right.
So if that gives you any kind of idea.
And I tried to finagle Adam to do commentary a couple more times. He's like, how is it going to get any better than this? No. I got to call commentary with Orange Cassidy. I'm done wrapping it up.
Yeah, I retired at the top.
That's right. So let's get right into our show again. I don't know what time it is. I'm not going to watch the clock, but I actually have to watch the clock. So if you've ever listened to our show before, we're going to do our usual lean about 2.5-3 hours. So then right after that, the wrestling will start. I promise. No. 5 o'clock is when things are going to go. We'll be done before 5. Give you plenty of time. Thank you.
Oh, and before you go, Joe, I just want to say precedent was set on an earlier podcast recording that I could smoke during this recording. So ripping heaters.
The wind's blowing that way, so you're okay.
Yeah.
All right, let's try this.
And now, At Odds with Wrestling presents This Day in Wrestling History.
Thank you to a friend of the show, DeWiki, for providing all the audio that you're going to hear on this live broadcast.
That's right. Justin got in touch with us, and he's like, hey, guys, do you want to send me any of your production elements, thinking everybody else would have them too? We're the only ones to be a pain in the ass to poor Justin here. So I love old wrestling. I love wrestling history, so this is why this segment's part of the show. So on this day in wrestling history in 2000, I doubt anyone remembers this, and if you do, give me a holler. iGeneration Superstars of Wrestling held a pay-per-view in Australia.
It sounds made up.
That happened 22 years ago today. Main event was Kurt Hennig versus Dennis Rodman.
All right, I'm listening.
Road Warriors versus Public Enemy was on the show. One Man Gang versus Tatanka. And the Barbarian in a hardcore match against Brute Force. Now, does anyone want to take a guess who Brute Force was? Anyone?
I have no clue, and I'm on the show.
Okay, so you might know him under some of his other characters that he's wrestled as like the Disciple. the Zodiac,
Okay.
Brother Brutai,
Ringing a
Brutus
bell.
the Barber. So he wrestled on this Australia show as Brute Force against the Barbarian. I've never seen this show in my life.
I might have to sign up for homework.
You might have to. Well, that's the thing. I wanted to bring up bad things like this.
All right. I like it.
So also on this day in wrestling history, in 1999, there was a Mark Curtis benefit show. Does anyone remember the WCW referee Mark Curtis?
Yep.
Right. Skinny dude had a mustache, infamously known. There was the fan that jumped in the ring during a Psychosis match, and he grabbed the fan and put him in like a front face lock. And Bobby Heenan just couldn't stop talking about it for the rest of the show. So that show, again, it was held in Tennessee, so there was a couple locals on there. But I'm going to run through some of the major parts of the card. Bear in mind, this is 1999.
All right. Height of the Attitude Era.
Right. Eddie Guerrero versus Billy Kidman versus Shark Boy.
Okay.
D'Lo Brown versus Al Snow. Chris Jericho versus Terry Taylor. And in the main event, Tim Horner, Tracy Smothers, and Chris Candido taking on Dean Malenko, Shane Douglas, and Chris Benoit. So again...
This is the Forbidden Door like 20 years early.
Right. 21 years ago was the real first Forbidden Door show. At the height of the Attitude Era stuff, there was an indie show, a benefit show that had WCW guys, ECW guys, WWF guys, just guys that went on to like huge prominence on this show. And this is another show that I don't think exists on tape. Like there's clips and stuff and highlights on YouTube. But if anyone has this show on tape, preferably on tape, I don't want DVDs, come see me after the show. I'll definitely check that out.
Yeah, I need something else to watch after tomorrow's Ric Flair memorial show.
Everybody's beat up on poor Ric Flair. And I just want to kind of mention, we just recorded our normal show this past Thursday. And usually at this point we talk about some of the stuff that we watched or liked since we last recorded in wrestling, but it's been like 2 days.
Yeah, I literally didn't watch a second of wrestling since the last time we recorded, other than the dark matches we've been seeing at AIW here.
Absolutely, AIW putting on some wrestling beforehand, not streaming out live, not going to be up on IWTV, just for you fans here.
The stuff that you missed, oh my God, I can't even describe it.
Right. But the Ric Flair roast was last night, and it was really bad.
Yeah.
Just because it was really long. There was like 30 people on the dais, and a bunch of the wrestlers got up there instead of telling jokes, went up there and tried to tell nice stories about Ric Flair, not really getting what a roast is supposed to be, and it got like weird and uncomfortable.
Aren't all the good roast comedians dead, too? Is that the problem?
I would say most of them, and there were a couple that took some crazy shots at Ric Flair, but they didn't really go over well with the crowd because... I think everyone... So, I'll say this. I'm gonna buy Ric Flair something for Halloween, but I'm not gonna buy him something for Christmas. Everyone's saying that he's gonna die, like he's gonna see August 1st.
Yeah.
I don't think he's gonna see January 1st.
Oh, no. We talked about this on last week's episode, that he's not dying immediately. Like, if you're watching the show just to see him die in the ring, you're not gonna be that lucky. It's a couple weeks later.
Right. That's not gonna be filmed.
I'm sorry, Ed. It's not happening. I know I broke your heart over there. When you steal that pay-per-view tomorrow, you're not going to be able to see him die.
But something important did happen in the last 2 days since we recorded, Adam.
Uh-oh.
On SmackDown this past week.
Oh, shit, yeah.
Max Dupree came back to Maximum Male Models.
What? Why are you booing that? It's the only good thing on that show.
They debuted the new summer wear with the volleyballs and the nice little crop tops. And then right at the end, Max Dupree came out. Pat McAfee sold it as he should. It was a big surprise. And I hope none of them ever wrestle. Yeah. And I just hope every week they just show new outfits.
I can't wait to the indie tour. I want to see Maximum Male Models and LVAC and AIW.
Well, with Triple H taking over, he's going to let a lot of those low-end guys take outside bookings, like back in the 90s and 2000s when Gilbert would defend the light heavyweight title in like Delaware and stuff.
All right, who do you want to see? Who in the crowd do you want to see come and job to somebody in AIW that's on the WWE roster? Yell it out.
Triple H.
Triple H jobbing to who?
He can't wrestle anymore. He had a real heart attack that was real.
Hey, if Ric Flair can unplug his pacemaker, so can you. Right?
Ric Flair's pacemaker's got a clapper. That's all. Oh.
So, the other thing that we typically do on the show, again, like I said, the week in wrestling hasn't been a ton because it's only been 2 days since we last recorded. But typically, we answer the voicemail. We stole it from Pod Van Dam. And typically, we'll go through the voicemails, but a lot of the people that call into the show are actually here today. So we're actually going to have them come out and join us on the podcast. We're going to start with Jayhawk and Butters from the IWTV podcast. IWTV Guide podcast.
Yeah, get it right. It's on his fanny pack.
Gentlemen, thank you.
Guys, have a seat. You've been complaining about not being on the show for like a year now, so this is your opportunity.
Are you knocking the fanny pack?
No, it's a choice. It's definitely a choice. Now, here's the thing. Like, you guys are on the show. We just came after Pod Van Dam. Pod Van Dam has, like, Derek Dillinger, Dom Guarini, PME, members only, and we get you guys. So you better make this worth it.
I can upgrade.
No, that's bold, man. I don't know. I can't say that.
All right, so the reason why you guys are on the show, briefly, I hope, is that for the gender-neutral Monarch of At Odds with Wrestling, the 3rd annual, you guys nominated the winner, and the winner was who this year?
Danhausen.
That is correct, Danhausen. Danhausen, a guy you would not have heard of if it wasn't for the fact he won the gender-neutral Monarch tournament. He got the At Odds bump. Previous winners were Orange Cassidy and Avery Good. Avery Good didn't work out, he retired. But you guys nominated Danhausen, and somehow you feel like you're entitled to some kind of award.
I want to be on record, though. I did not say that publicly.
Okay.
Publicly.
He agreed with this in text. I have all of it on my phone.
Well, I said publicly.
I don't want to look through your phone. All right. First of all, I just want to ask before I throw it over to Joe, the question that everybody here is asking, where's Jay Gold?
In New York.
He went to GKW in Nashville last night, because we're not...
Yeah.
All right. Joe, what do you have to say about these guys kind of like forcing their way onto our podcast?
Well, again, I wouldn't say they forced themselves on. It's one of your many bits that you do on the show that I'm completely against.
I don't do bits.
And it's end up biting me in the ass many a times.
I do as many bits as Ed does on Pod Van
I'm
Dam.
going to tweet this code out, and when I do, and then I send you the light signal, then you have to reply with this. And I'm like, why am I involved in any of your nonsense? But I do enjoy listening to IWTV Guide. I do like that Butters and Jayhawk are good sports about this.
Your phone.
Oh, my phone. Sorry, my phone is messing up the audio.
My phone is by the microphone, too. Do I need to...
But it's not yours.
Okay.
Guys, without my notes, I can't talk. Yeah. All right, I'm not looking at my dick. I
Very
promise.
very professional show here. But on our way here, I said to Adam, I go, hey, listen, if Butters and Jayhawk are here, let's get them on the show so we can, kind of like check that box to try to schedule them to be on our normal show. This worked out, I think, for the best.
Yeah,
I agree.
So is there anything else that you guys would like to talk about since you guys have the floor? You have the audience here.
Yeah, we have about 40 minutes to kill.
I would like my trophy. There's a trophy to be had, and I need my trophy.
Again, I don't know where there's a trophy was ever promised.
I was told that you were buying beer.
Me or Adam?
Adam.
You know
Adam
what?
definitely is buying beer.
I will buy you guys a beer if that will get me off the hook.
All right.
Is that fair enough?
That'll work.
That worked for me.
And I will say the trophy is what the winner of tonight's Bill Alfonso Hardcore Tournament gets. So after they win, if you guys want to try to step up to whoever wins the tournament tonight, by all means, you could rechristen that as the At Odds Gender Neutral Monarch Championship.
That'll go on you, Butter. I am not getting in there.
I tried to get the tag belt off of Arthur after he won the tag titles because I thought it was partially, that could be my trophy.
Right.
And he punched me in the mouth, so
Good.
I don't think that's...
Well, I mean,
That's
Adam Van did
not
win
it.
that belt on Saturday.
Adam
So.
told me that I would get the belt if they
Again,
won, and then I
lies.
tried to get it, and then I got punched. So I don't trust anything Adam says now.
Well, I'm a very unreliable narrator. But here's the thing, guys. Tell me a little bit about your podcast and how your favorite episode was the one that I was on.
I can do it. IWTV Guide. Basically, every week we review something that's on IWTV. Jerry's Internet Wrestling Emporium. We have a spotlight segment where we highlight somebody on the independent scene, give them their prop, give them some matches that we think are worth watching.
And we tell you what's coming up too.
Tell you what's coming on the upcoming week, and usually run through some of the matches on the card. And I'm going to say it on this podcast, just like I do on mine. If you can't find something on IWTV that you like, you're not a wrestling fan, and don't bother.
There you go. Well,
Fans
guys.
of IWTV back there.
Yes. Well, guys, thank you very much for joining us. We don't want to eat up too much time because we do have a couple other phone callers on the line.
Yes.
I can't wait for Ed's phone call.
Spoilers. All right, guys, thank you. I will buy you a beer right after this recording.
All right, give Jayhawk and Charlie Butters a round of applause. All right, next caller. I know Adam always wants it to be a sepia button,
Yep,
right?
Absolutely, it's the sepia button. And you know what? I'm going to change things up. If he wants to bring his partner down here, the sepia button, Arthur MacArthur, 1/3 of the new AIW Tag Team Champions, and it looks like he's being accompanied by Chuck Stone.
Yes, sir. Yeah. Woo. One has to kill the other since you're doppelgangers. All righty. Oh, that'll make tonight interesting. Yep.
And one thing that they don't know is that this is a championship presentation, so which one of you guys is losing your belt to me tonight? Or not losing it, but presenting it to me. Can you just put that like right up in front of me? Like just like let me make some room, you know.
Everybody take a nice look at that.
I'm pretty sure it's clear now that the three of us are tag team champions. Although I shake
Undeniably.
my beard.
Well, you didn't get the memo about the Hawk thing, but it's all good.
Other than that, we are identical. You cannot tell us apart. Guys, congratulations. Thanks for coming on.
Thank you very much.
So I want, obviously I don't know Chuck as well as I do Artie. Chuck doesn't call in, Artie does.
Sorry.
I love to see these guys' progression as a tag team. The big culmination, of course, last week at Absolution of them winning the tag titles. I thought things were going to go a little bit differently, and I'm glad to be wrong.
Can we talk about that? Did we say that on air?
We did say that on our show, but I'll mention it again. Let's pretend that everyone here doesn't listen to our show, right?
I know, there's probably like 2 people back there that aren't regular listeners.
So I thought not only was PME going to be victorious, but I thought that this loss was going to enrage Chuck so much that he was going to lay out Artie after the match and break up this team.
Respectfully, how could you?
I'm sure Dustin would have loved that.
Well, let me ask you this. If it came down to it, which one of you guys would come victorious in that?
Ooh, we've actually wrestled a few times before solo, many years before not many.
I want to say our record was even before, because then we started tagging. I want to say before that, between all of our one-on-one matches, we were kind of, I think it was 1-1 or 2-2.
Something like that. We were like pre-shows.
Pretty evenly matched, but
Well, I know Chuck is, as of this recording, Chuck has been announced for the JT Lightning Invitational Tournament coming up next month.
Oh, yeah.
I don't know if Artie's going to be one of the names on that list of people.
Just you wait and see.
Yeah, we're waiting to
So
find
who
out.
knows? Maybe they could line up in the tournament. I had my fingers crossed in Gauntlet for the gold that they would have been number 1 and number 2, but John Thorne runs a straight, honest ship with the number picking, no shenanigans, no funny business. I just want to see you two guys fight, I think, is the problem.
Oh.
I think it'd be okay. I think as long as I think as long as we go share a burger after, I think we'd be all right.
And to be fair, last time I checked, we were not announced for a match. We're just out here selling our merchandise. Great deals, by the way. So, you're messing that up. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was gonna say we're not on the card technically, so you never know. John Thorne, where are you at? Chuck Stone, Artie Mack. Let's see who the true tag team champion is.
I can see the match graphic right now. Bulking season explodes.
Well, no. We're very well okay. We just want to test the theory.
We'll see how it goes.
Now, I could sit up here and ask Artie a million questions, but I have Chuck here, so I can ask him. Chuck,
We'll talk to Artie later.
how happy are you that Artie talks normal now?
Not very happy. What do you mean? I love when he talks the other way, especially in public. He was a very famous Taco Bell ordering in the gimmick voice. He still does that sometimes. So
I think I was something like, I'll have 2 fajita cheese burritos.
Yeah,
I'll have a 5-layer and a glass of water. I actually said glass of water. I don't know why.
he said a glass.
The best is he kind of dropped the voice in promos a while ago, but when he still calls into our show, he kind of starts his call off in the voice, and then about 30 seconds in, he's just like, I'm done. I'm not doing the voice.
He's been taking a lot of headshots lately, so you can't really expect. You can't expect them to be on the same wavelength for that long.
It's been a crazy year.
So have you ever felt pressured, Chuck, to maybe do a silly voice as well as part of the team?
No.
Or okay.
Nope. I think I have a pretty commanding voice. Wait, that's just his voice. What do you mean?
I gotta say, Chuck actually has a cousin. A cousin who's a wrestler. He's from France.
Yes.
His name is Jacques Stone.
Yes.
Jacques Stone, the baguette-loving badass.
He is the baguette-loving badass, and one day we hope to bring him to the States.
Oh, geez.
to
you know what?
AIW.
Maybe he'll come by in October. We'll have to talk to Thorne about
He
that.
should call into At Odds one of these days.
Oh, that's not bad.
That's
That's not a bad idea. Yeah,
wish-
I'll have to message him. I'll see what
Reverse
he
the
says.
charges. We'll cover it.
Oh, yeah, the international charges.
I just want to say, like, I was talking to the guys on the car ride down here, and we were actually talking about you, Artie.
Oh,
And it was basically how you kind of came into the fold of At Odds. And I said that when you guest appeared on Pod Van Dam, that's kind of when you got on my radar. And I have to ask you something that's been bugging me for a while. What do you think about the comeback of Belle Delphine? All right, yeah, absolutely.
Well,
We're not that show.
what can I say? Belle Delphine's a professional.
Yep.
She's making her money.
It's
and
art.
anyone who hates on my girl, I can't even
Say
say
it.
it publicly. If you hate on Belle Delphine, you can go fuck yourself.
Wow!
I wanted to be the non-swear show. Adam slipped one through the
Tell him
cracks.
how you feel, Artie, man.
It's all right.
I'm sorry, Kildren. Don't say that.
We'll beep in.
Serious
post.
question to ask everyone. Is this the first time you two have ever been in the same building together? Because you look strikingly similar.
We've covered this already, Pat. But
And
yes.
like, is this the first time you've been like? Because I haven't seen you guys next to each other ever. Are you sure that this?
We're not allowed to be this close for too long. It disrupts the space-time continuum.
Does
and all
it take long to put the makeup on to look just like him, or which one's who's wearing the makeup over here? Which one's designed to look like who?
Just a little concealer, that's all.
Yeah.
No, thank you.
All right. Well, gentlemen, thank you very much for being on the show.
I'm going to
you
steal
very
one of your
much.
heaters.
Congratulations on your new reign as champions. Hopefully you sell a ton of merch today.
We're celebrating all day with a lot of deals. That's fine. Come visit us at the merch table.
Yep. Again, visit them at the merch table. Come see my new belt.
I need this back, bro.
And I hope to go to that greatest burger in the world place with you guys later tonight. Are they, if they're open, absolutely. Has anybody been to this greatest burger in the world place? Is it actually the greatest burger in the world, or is it just a bunch of marketing hoopla? Pretty good.
If Ed Cody says so, you have to
Well-
believe him. He's a trustworthy person.
Again, speaking of Ed Cody, it is pink button time. He is
Yay.
our Dwight Howard, like Pod Van Dam, closing out their show with a gimmick caller that may or may not be real. He's definitely for real in jail in Rochester, New York.
Cheech Solemn.
Ed Cody, who you saw out here before from Pod Van Dam.
Hi.
Ed, why are you so far away?
Want to keep my distance.
That's not cool.
So Ed was on our show recently to talk about our favorite subject, he and I's favorite subject, Dude Love.
Yeah.
Great episode. Listen to it.
I know. So the cutting room floor stuff, $300. If you send that to me, I'll get that to Ed, and I'll get you the 45 minutes that was cut out of the show. That's absolutely unusable and incriminating.
We started recording at 9 o'clock. I think we had to basically kick Ed off the Skype at like 1 o'clock. We're like, dude, we
getting
haven't
there.
gotten past the opening segment yet. Oh, Jesus.
So the reason I went ahead, I mentioned this, Ed has told the story before, but again, tell it to a live crowd. This is typically what a live podcast is. You kind of repeat your greatest hits.
Absolutely.
Tell everyone the story of the time you met Mick Foley.
I was at WrestleCon in 2019 in Jersey, and there was only 2 goals that day. I needed to meet Scarlett Bordeaux and hover hand her, right? Because she's too pretty to touch.
Yep.
And then I needed to meet Mick Foley, because Mick Foley is my all-time favorite wrestler. He is the entire reason I like professional wrestling. And that reason is the first angle I ever saw was Mankind turning into Dude Love. And I was hooked from then on. So when I met Mick Foley, I said, he's very jovial and nice. And we took a picture together, and I just needed to let him know. I'm like, Mick, the entire reason I'm a wrestling fan is because of Dude Love. And Mick's demeanor completely changed. And he said, yeah, all right. And at that moment, I realized, Mick Foley thinks I'm fucking with him. Because in his brain, there's no way that is the reason someone is a wrestling fan, is because one time I became a hippie that came out to disco music for some reason.
For some reason.
Yeah.
But have you, so it's stories like that and other people who have met some other, let's say, 1995 to 1997 ECW alum that might be salty and miserable.
Yeah.
That I always don't want to meet guys from that era of my fandom because they always kind of seem like jerks sometimes and always bums me out. And what I tell myself is I'm like, oh, they actually had a really good interaction with Raven, and they're just telling me he was a jerk.
Oh,
just
no,
to make
Raven
me
was
feel
mean
bad.
to me too.
What was that?
Raven was mean to me too.
Raven was mean to you too.
Yes.
Yes, the common denominator is
At Wrestle Rager, Raven was doing like a Q&A, and no one was asking questions, and I was pretty out of it. And John Thorne said, "Get in there and ask Raven a question." And so I said, "Yeah, all right. Well, there's definitely a question." I said, "I've always wanted to ask Raven about not winning the NWA title and having to lose to Jeff Jarrett." Because it always seemed real weird. So the story clearly building up to it was Raven's going to win this belt, and then he didn't. And Raven informed me I got paid, so I didn't care, which flies in the face of everything about Raven, right? Because he's a very story-driven guy.
Yeah.
So I press him on it. Instead of just accepting that answer, I let him know that doesn't make any sense. And you literally said the opposite of that before.
Did he hobble over to you and get in your face?
Stop saying shit at me. And then eventually he starts. I had a handlebar mustache at the time because it made me laugh. And he starts giving me shit about my mustache for like a comment. And I start getting heated, right?
Yeah.
And I had to like be told to leave the room because I'm just bickering with Raven.
They were holding you back.
Yeah, because I was going to take him out.
See, this feels like another lie to make me hate the guys that I loved as a kid growing up watching wrestling.
Who else can you meet and have a terrible experience with to ruin it for Joe? Jeff Jarrett?
I would never meet Jeff. Are you kidding me?
You don't know how sad I was the first time John brought Jeff Jarrett into AIW, and
yeah, me too. I was sad too. Trust me.
He was running late, and I didn't get a chance to get my picture with Jeff Jarrett. I love Jeff Jarrett. Like unironically, everyone's like, "Oh, Jeff Jarrett, whatever." But like, I love Jeff Jarrett from like looking at pictures of him in like the early '90s and the after mags and everything. I'm like, wow, that guy looks cool.
He had the long flowing blonde hair.
And then he comes in to WWE as a country music superstar, and I hate country music. And I'm like, oh, I love this guy. He's a country music superstar, and he's going to become a success in country music by winning wrestling matches. I'm like, I'm on board for it. Let's go.
But
That's
you
a
were
great
old
plan.
enough at that point to know that sucks, right? You weren't a kid.
Let me do my gazintas. I was like 16 or 17, maybe?
Yes.
It's still real to him, damn it.
Yeah.
I don't know, man. Jeff Jarrett's just kind of one of the worst of all time. He's definitely a fail son. He's only failed at everything he's done, but much like Triple H, he fails upwards consistently.
Time will
don't
tell
talk
on
about
Global
Gabe that
Force.
way.
Time will tell on Global Force.
So I just don't. It's all Conrad's fault for sure, right? This ironic comeback of Jeff Jarrett. He doesn't even sing the song that people love about him. The entire point of that song is that Road Dogg sings it.
I watched the video.
Yeah.
And it's clearly him. All right. So the last part of our show that we always do is the part that Adam requested, a wholly original part of our show, definitely not taken from other much more successful podcasts.
Yeah, exactly. We came up with a concept like a year or two ago that there was this untapped market of podcasts that talk about toys. So we wrote and composed this original jingle, and I hope you like it.
Some might cost a little. Some might cost a lot. But I'm the $100 Vansky. And your figures will be bought.
It's still going.
Yeah, it goes on for. I'll send you a copy. You can listen to it at home.
That's Adam's ringtone.
It is. Like I'm that person that's so vain that he has his own theme. That's a callback.
Before I bail, can I tell you about a weekly purchase?
Absolutely.
That's why we left you out here. Have you bought anything in the last 2 days?
I bought twice. Did a pre-order for their new mini album Between 1 and 2, and I pre-ordered that. And then Yena has a new mini album coming out called Smartphone. I pre-ordered that. But more importantly, just today, I bought issue 2 of Do a Powerbomb, a comic about wrestling that turns into like kind of a Mortal Kombat style tournament.
Did you read it yet?
No, it's in the truck.
All right.
I can't wait.
No spoilers.
It's very good. Guys, I know it sounds insane what I just said, and I expected it to not be good because it's a thing about wrestling. So, but it's really, 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 really good. I highly suggest it.
So,
It's called Do a Powerbomb.
I'll recommend this one to you here as well. Is that there's a DC comic book out that's by the same artist, not writer.
Okay.
It's called Jurassic League. It's essentially what if the Justice League were dinosaurs.
What if they were?
That's
is
this
a great
comic
question.
book.
Yeah.
Yes.
I like it.
So I think you should check that out.
All right.
Ed, thank you very much
Thank
for coming
you.
on.
Ed, thank you. Give Ed a good round of applause. He'll be here all night.
A redemption story, if you will.
So it's been 2 days since we last recorded. I have not bought anything.
You haven't bought anything in 2 days? Come on.
I bought food, like nothing like toy-wise or like nothing for myself, just things to, I paid some bills. That doesn't count, right?
No, that doesn't count.
No.
How much time do we have before they're going to kick us out? I'm going to see if I can squeeze it in.
I'm going to say 11 minutes.
All right. I'll just say that speaking of Ed was nice enough to give me a book about the history of New Japan Pro Wrestling, and I look forward to going home and picking out the errors that are in there, making notes, maybe writing a letter to the author and letting him know where he screwed up.
Right. Now, if you're a listener of the show or any of the other shows in the soon-to-be-named network that we're part of, Adam is the resident Japanese wrestling expert. So if you have any questions about current, past Japanese wrestling and you want to ask Adam about it, he will give you his honest and like the most real answer of anyone outside of like Dave Meltzer, I'd say.
Yeah, Dave who? Come on.
Exactly.
But thanks, Ed. I look forward to reading that and completely understanding all of it. Joe, you know what? I do have a couple weekly purchases, but I will say you and I and a couple other people in the soon-to-be-named network doll chat, we're talking about me being out of the Major Bendy game.
Sure.
And being done with Major Bendies. But as Fig Daddy Cool once said, the Major Bendies weren't done with me. So I might have placed some pre-orders for a Mr. Jonathan Gargano Major Bendy.
Oh! Stop it.
It's actually a life-size figure. If you look at it and put it next to Johnny Gargano.
Did they do a pre-order yet of his SummerSlam gear or no?
No. That one is under hush-hush.
Okay.
That's coming out soon. But I pre-ordered the regular one that they have on. Am I allowed to talk about like Broski and them and when I'm in this territory? Is Bishop going to beat my ass? This is definitely a safe space for Broski stuff, right? All right.
No.
So, oh, man.
Our podcast isn't, but I still allow it.
Yeah. Most of it gets edited out.
Right.
But I bought the regular version. I pre-ordered the one that was like exclusive to some toy store. And I may or may I will not confirm on the air whether or not I purchased a meet and greet for Pandora's Toys so that I could get the exclusive one. So I would hypothetically be 3 for 3 on buying all of those.
So the question I would have for that is, how big of a fan of Johnny Gargano are you?
Kind of in the middle.
Right. So you went and dropped literally hundreds of dollars to buy 3 bendies and a meet and greet on a guy that you're on?
It's like $250. It's not bad.
Oh, Jesus Christ.
Plus the gas to New Jersey.
Is that all?
I do have one other thing that I bought, and I bought this in the major group, and I wasn't going to say this publicly, but I feel, again, nobody's listening to me right now. They're looking at the ring. And I might have bought, because it was cheap, Joe, and it might have been for the bit, I swear, but I might have bought an autographed 8x10 of Alexa Bliss.
You have a problem.
No, it was like an old NXT photo, and it was like, it had a heart on it, and I was pretty sure that heart was for me, so I had to buy it. It was cheap.
You're gonna need like a wing of your house for all this Alexa Bliss stuff, or at least somewhere to hide when the cops come and raid your place.
It's all hidden. I have a trap door like that. It all swings out, But that's my last purchase, Joe. But before we wrap up, I just want to say, again, we talked at the beginning. You, sir, are an AIW legend.
No.
Like, you came in here, and people are, like, super excited to see you. They're more excited to see you than, like, Dan Champion, which isn't saying much. You're on par with Ultramantis Black, like, as far as people being excited to see you here.
Are you insinuating that you haven't seen me and Ultramantis Black together at the same time?
It has been a while.
Okay.
But, again, like, I'm happy to ride your coattails, because if it wasn't for you, I would not be here. None of these people would have any idea who the hell I am. So thank you, Joe, for bringing me out here and letting me carry your bags for all these years.
Well, thank you, Adam. That was unnecessary. But I do want to actually thank John Thorne of AIW for inviting Adam and myself to come out and be part of this. The Great Lakes WrestleFest folks for putting this on. And like I said, I'm not going to waste any more else's time. Thank you, everyone, for listening. Thanks to Justin from Wrestling Cheers. Thanks to all the Pod Van Dam boys except for Jonas, because he's gone. And like I said, we're wrapping this up early so everyone has time to go get yourself situated before the wrestling starts here. And again, everyone, be safe out there and enjoy some wrestling.
You're listening to the soon-to-be-named network, the Lamborghini of Podcast Network.